This is the best analysis of who is in with the greatest chance at victory for the Austrian Grand Prix. To understand how these predictions are going to be made, they're going to be based around past charts that depict track dominance. As you can see on the screen, the elements of the track dominance for these teams will be compared to see who has the best compatibility with the Red Bull Ring. Austria is a very balanced and short track, which means that the margins are usually minute. This paired with the recent trend of close qualifying sessions should mean it will be a very hard one to predict. Currently, it looks to be a wet race, almost thunderstorms, with over a 60% chance as of Wednesday, the day I record this. The rain, of course, is considered the great equalizer, as a car, performance tends to level out, with the drivers making the biggest difference. However, qualifying seems to be dry, so with that out of the way, we can go to the breakdown. Looking at the tracks we have had so far, Jeddah is in our opinion the closest to the Red Bull Ring. It has very long straights, with some slower turns being in the minority, and fast speed sweeping turns being the dominant feature. This track dominance will be used alongside the most recent track of Spain, which has the upper hand in terms of accuracy due to upgrades being at the most recent point. Now, thanks to F1 Tempo, we can analyze these track characteristics to see who performs best around where. Using drivers of Verstappen, Piastri, Leclerc, and Russell, fastest times in qualifying, it's clear how much of an upper hand the Red Bull has in high-speed sections, such as the DRS zone, which although the DRS advantage has been minimized by advancements by competitors, it still remains a strength they hold. Let's start at turn 1, which allows drivers to carry speed into it, with this being a medium speed corner, where the acceleration phase is so important, since the following track is a long straight uphill. Here, we expect McLaren to have the upper hand, with their mid-speed performance being the best out of the top 4. This was visible in the twisty corners of Monaco, where they had good mid-corner performance, but they were of course beaten by Ferrari, who although will be down after the first corner and straight to both the McLaren and Red Bull, with the Red Bull straight line speed bringing them into the fight, they will however gain a lot of time at the very slow in turn 3, where drivers drop all the way down to second gear, the lowest point in the whole circuit. Ferrari's performance comes from here. It's the low speed corners that they absolutely love, which explains their sudden emphatic performance in the lowest speed circuit, Monaco. When breaking down Leclerc's pole lap, which can be seen here or there will be an end screen at the end of the video, we saw that Leclerc was taking a lot of speed into the corner, which harmed him in the middle of the turn in phase, but then he would be able to apply a lot more acceleration earlier than others, and the Ferrari was complacent through it all. What follows it is another straight, this time downhill, that will bring the Red Bull back in. This is the common trend in these balanced circuits, where this Red Bull will always find a way to get back into the fight. This is mainly due to these straights, which makes up for their shortcomings in the slow speed. Turn 4 this time is actually a corner the Mercedes seems to prefer. It's a long, but not too long corner, without super hard braking going down to only gear 3. Now why is this important? Let me explain. If this corner is any shorter with harder braking, it would favour the Ferrari. If it is any longer, no matter the braking, it will suit the McLaren. So the Mercedes, in other words, finds itself in this great spot between the McLaren and Ferrari, where it excels compared to the competition. A very strange characteristic that they have figured out how to use to their advantage in order to get performance back, compensating for the areas they lack. The following corner of 5 is a very strong area for Red Bull. This is a flat out long corner until the turn 6 braking and accelerating zone that comes very quickly, similar to turn 1, which means McLaren will have the best time navigating this part until 7 and 8 rips out their hopes for pole, at least for now, with its flat out left and right hander, similar in characteristics to the 5 and 6 of Miami or the 9 and 10 of Saudi Arabia, both times of which Red Bull has been quick around. Finally, 9 and 10 are 2 turns very similar to those of turn 1. McLaren therefore will be once again in the driver's seat, but for the final straight, where the Papaya team will be hoping to have enough time in hand once they reach the pit straight, where the Red Bull will have its final good opportunity to beat the competition. So who has the upper hand here? Who will win the race? The Red Bull is the car with the most aspects and strengths that match up the circuit layout, with about 70% of the distance of the track suiting them. The McLaren, who have the next most, They will be hoping that their gains in those medium speed corners will be enough, but we will see. Ferrari, unfortunately, will only have the turn 3 section to aid them over the others, which is more than last weekend if you give it an optimistic view, but it won't, or at least shouldn't be enough to give them any real backing this weekend. Race trim, however, is another aspect completely on its own, that as we saw last weekend, plays a massive part in how the race unfolds and how the team's individual strategies are applied. So here is the race trim for each team. The Red Bull, of Max more specifically, is the most consistent on all sets of tyres, with no real struggles in pace and good tyre degradation. McLaren is the most erratic on all compounds, with it having steep drop-offs in tyre performance. Mercedes is the most interesting, with them having good performance on the softs, but really strangely, they have such terrible time on the mediums, with them being difficult to get into the working window for them, and not allowing the drivers to feel the confidence they should/need.